Okay, how's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the More Than Logic podcast. My name is Ignatious Jingura, the host, and today I'm joined by a newly found friend of mine who I'm going to quiz a little bit today about life, business, mindset, health, lifestyle, all of it. So I'm going to let him introduce himself for you guys. Let's go.
So, my name is Luke Brinkmann, and currently working here with EY, busy just finished my articles, but grew up here in Namibia, family moved across from the Netherlands, got a bit of background in finance, and what else?
Yeah, perfect. You're a phenomenal volleyball player.
Yeah, well,
to me
I enjoy my volleyball, that's true.
Yeah. What other sports have you played?
Sure, quite a mix. I mean, my dad and uncle own OTB, and they came back and started that. So from when we moved here, when I was about 8 or so, it was just like, if there's something wasn't selling at the shop, it was like, okay, here's a ball. You go play football at home or on the streets, or like here's something else. So in terms of sports exposure, I've done a fair amount, I guess. Football, squash.
Yeah, I've seen you've done. Have you ever run a marathon?
No, I haven't. I'm not so big into the endurance stuff.
But I know you've done swimming. Have you done the Ironman as well?
No,
not the Ironman. What's the one? The Jetty Mile?
I do some of those,
Yeah, Jetty Mile and
the
some
triathlons
of
a little bit. Yeah. It's nice to be part of it.
Yeah. How do you feel now being on a podcast? You told me it's your first time being interviewed on a podcast in an intimate space like this. How do you feel?
Yeah, it's different. It's different having the cameras and the lights and stuff in the background. I mean, I've had some low-key interviews after the volleyball, but this is...
Okay. So tell me, when people ask you, do people ever ask you, what's your story, Luke Brinkmann? Tell me about the journey, the things that you think highlight your life that have led you here.
No, I haven't been asked that before. So but I mean, what do you see as here for me? Like, what am I?
What do I see?
Yeah.
Or I see, or firstly, I get the feeling that you've got a calm confidence. Not necessarily that you're very. I think you're well spoken. And I also think I have a feeling you have work ethic. You have good work ethic.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's a bit of a core value for me.
Okay. And I also think that you might have been, when you were younger, you might have been very attractive for the ladies as well. I remember the first time I met you. I'll tell you why I say that. The first time I met you, it was I think it was at volleyball, and I was coming with a group of friends, some girlfriends of mine, and it might have been in Swakop. So in Swakop we always play with our shirts off and all that, and you work out as well, so you've got some abs. And the group of girls I was with, they just couldn't stop staring at you, and you play volleyball so well already. It was just like everything in sync, I think they were daydreaming, man. So
Okay, well that's flattering.
So you can go home feeling good about yourself.
At least if there's one thing that comes from this, I'll go home feeling with boosted confidence.
Okay. So tell me that journey. What has led you here to these aspects, to these traits that you have?
Well, I mean, the one thing I suppose is the volleyball, which I've tried to be a bit more competitive about in the last 3 years. So I mean, I was studying in Stellenbosch, and then came back to Namibia, started working, doing my articles with EY, so they gave me a bursary to study. And then when I was back, I mean, it was kind of in the mix of COVID. There wasn't that much going on, and I've always been fairly sporty and generally good at sports, but never like really good. And it was kind of starting to irk me. I was a bit like, okay, I would like to take something a bit more serious, because it's quite difficult, I think, to focus on something and like really push at it. It's very easy to go, I could be good at this, if I tried a bit more. It's like, well, the trying part is probably the difficult part. So I decided, I saw an opportunity in volleyball, and I was like, well, there's a partner that I can play with, so let's try to do it a bit more. I mean, I didn't get to a very high level, but I try to focus on it, I guess. And there was some interesting learning experiences out of that. Turns out things don't become that enjoyable when you treat them like work. And when you're like, okay, I've got to train this and this and this and this time, and you do that. And I suppose in Namibia there's not as much competition always. And there's not always the same facilities and coaching structure. And I mean, I'm sure you'll hear that from like lots of people that are actually doing really well at their sports. You know, professional runners and Philip Zeidler, who I'm pretty familiar with, who you know, like, I mean, it's incredible. He just pushes and pushes and he works so hard. But it's like the coaching structure is not really there, the facilities are not really there, so it's quite challenging in a way as an athlete to do stuff like that.
I've met him a few times on the beach as well, Philip, and you know, it's always just him training, and he literally has to push himself. I'm sure you probably had to go through a lot of that as well. And
I only went to a fraction of the lengths that he went. And I mean, I was really like, well, I mean, I was trying to do a job on the side, which is quite demanding, I suppose. Not on the side, that was supposed to be the main thing, but I mean, that's
been quite a tough one.
That's a little bit about the volleyball, I suppose, that you mentioned.
And tell me, doing all of that, what have you learned about yourself, about the lengths that you're willing to go, or something, some self-observation? What have you observed about yourself doing all of that?
I think sort of positive observations would be like I'm pretty driven, pretty structured, and I think I'm willing to work hard to achieve stuff. But I've also learned that you're never really good enough.
That's great.
So that was quite good as like a big humility thing, and I suppose you just like, you know, I'm pretty rubbish at volleyball compared to
the pro guys.
I mean, it's can't even compare. So there's a bit of a humility part of it, but also that, you know, you don't really need to focus on just one thing. It's quite nice to be versatile and to do different things.
And so, have you played with guys that are so much better than you, like further in your league?
Well, I mean, I play some of these Southern African tournaments, and like we do decently, but there's probably 5 teams that are just like one tier above us. And I mean, they don't thrash us, but like, you know,
it's bad enough.
They don't worry, like they get on the field and they're quite relaxed.
They probably feel, they probably feel like I feel playing you. Like I remember one time we played you and the other blonde guy.
Oh yeah, Eric.
6-21, man. It's like you're doing nothing. It's like you're doing, every ball comes, you just miss it. And I try. Okay, I have no excuse. I have no excuse. But that's lovely to hear, man. So I just asked you now recently, before the podcast started, and you were speaking about how you see there's so much opportunity here in Namibia. Where does that come from?
I suppose a series of places. I mean, it's difficult for me to make that sort of judgment since, like, you know, I'm pretty young. I haven't really seen that many economic cycles. But I mean, Namibia is coming out of a recession. And just wherever I am in terms, because I mean, in auditing, it can be a bit of a dry profession, but you get to see a lot and you get to speak to a lot of different people and see different businesses and different sectors. And like that, and just reading stuff overall, it just looks really positive. Like mining is picking up, there's the oil and gas, there's tourism is doing really well, politically things are stable. You know, like the society is stable and it feels like it's becoming more integrated and cohesive, like, you know, people get on with each other, you can speak quite freely about things, people think for themselves. So I think just like really good traits, not only from really good indicators, not only from like an economic side, but from like a social side and people that you deal with on your day to day. So I was saying I'm very positive about Namibia's outlook. And I'm not really prone to being an optimist. So So yeah, I think
You think you're pessimistic?
Yeah, no, I'm not a pessimist. I'm not like doom and gloom either, but I'm pretty neutral about things.
Yeah.
You know, I won't.
More like someone says something and you're like, we shall see.
Yeah, we'll see, and you know, I'm fairly neutral about things,
Yeah.
kind of moderated. It's like I'm not that positive.
Yeah.
When something pops into my mind that is positive, I try and make an effort to say it.
Yeah.
So, like whether it's about some person or so, but yeah, I'm pretty positive about it. I think like in the next 10 to 20 years, if you're starting something here, I'm pretty sure you're going to do well off of it.
Yeah. Yeah, you're quite young, and I hear you speak about mining, tourism. What else did you mention? The new hydro energies and stuff.
Oil and gas. Yeah, there's the green hydrogen. I'm less convinced by that, but but that as well. I mean.
Yeah. So I've been looking forward to having a conversation with someone else about that stuff. Actually, the last person I had a conversation with was much older, so it's a different perspective. They're more into the industries. But like from your side now, not yet being involved in the industries, do you think there's opportunity for us as well, people that are like, I guess, younger? Let's say I decided right now to get into that. What do you know that I don't know? Maybe perhaps that can that can help us get in there.
Well, I mean, I've got, I suppose, some jobs in the mining industry and in oil and gas side. I get to see some things that I suppose you normally wouldn't. Yeah. But I think it's more of a general sentiment that it comes from. But like if it comes to, I mean, you're starting now with marketing and you're setting stuff up for yourself. And like if you're starting something for yourself and you're not going to be an employee, I think you've got a lot more exposure to doing well in the next couple of years. So like that's, I think, already a good start. The problem for people like us and at our age is that we don't really have capital to start stuff and to start a business. And I mean, that's like monetary capital is a big thing, but also, you know, the human capital experience and like with finances, money makes money. Yeah. Unfortunately, like you know, if you've got 1,000, you know, you can't really do much with it. If you got 1,000,000, you can set something up, and like it just becomes exponentially more wealth that you can earn off of it. So yeah, I mean, I think, and you're gonna stay in the country.
That's the plan for now. I think I would love to at least build something for myself here before I go anywhere else. I don't know. I feel like I'd love to go to other places, but in general, like I don't know. I think like at the end of the day, we have to build our own country as much as we can, and I think I'm sure you believe that as well. But now when you mentioned this whole thing about capital, I was laughing because I was immediately thinking about a conversation I had with one guy where he was like, "Oh, during COVID, I bought this house for 2 million and I sold it for 8 million," and I was like thinking, this guy just made money just because he had money.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and literally it comes to those stages. Like, I'm sure a lot of people reap from those benefits. In the beginning, I can imagine it's just very hard, just building your own reputation, capital, and whatsoever. But it's easier to make money once you have it than not to. I guess that's what it basically is.
Yeah, that's exactly. And I mean, when wealth accumulates, it passes down families and within certain groups. I mean, that's also what causes divides in societies and so. I
remember when we first met, you spoke about like the whole cycle of the first generation builds something, second generation maintains, and third generation likely destroys. But do you think there's a way of maintaining things like in family? Do you think?
Oh yeah. Well, so I was kind of like, you know, the first generation comes from a poor background. Probably has good values, gets well educated, builds something. The second generation maintains those values, carries it on, and then in the third generation, those values start disappearing. And money, and people they have depression and anxiety and and then it kind of collapses. I mean, that's not a hard and fast rule. It was just a fun observation of mine. But there is something.
But I think there are probably some cases where the values
the values start to disappear. I mean, sometimes I think like values and morals, and so in a wealthy family, it's even more important to keep those together. Because there's something about like it's not a moral, but the will to survive it's good. It's good when people have that will to survive and it drives them.
And so here's what I know. I know that you come from a wealthy family, semi-wealthy, and I want to know, because I get the feeling when I speak to you, I don't get the feeling that you had a lot of things handed down to you in your life. Would you agree with that? Because I think you come more from I mean, like work ethic and all that kind of stuff. It's not stuff you just get. And I think probably your parents made sure to put you in some tough situations sometimes. I don't know if that's the case. I don't know. I want to hear from you. So how was it?
Yeah, well, I mean, I suppose family background growing up. I mean, in my like immediate surroundings, I think we were pretty average in terms of wealth. But I mean, if you compare it to like the rest of the country, we were massively privileged. But I mean, my parents, I mean, first off, I think I've got very lucky. I had a fantastic family background and wonderful parents. They really gave like a good balance of, you know, a nurturing environment, but you can let your child suffer a little bit. Like, you know, you mustn't give them everything. You must let them work for their own stuff. You must let them make their own mistakes. So that was like quite a core family value, I suppose. I mean, when I went to go study, it was very much like, it's, in a way, it's, you must go study, but it's your problem. You know, you've got to go find a bursary, you've got to go find something. So I suppose, there weren't many hand-downs, but there was definitely support. And there was like a lot of exposure to stuff. I mean, the sports and so that you asked me about, like I got to do all the sports, I got to see things, you know, we didn't travel a lot. We traveled within Namibia. But I mean, I suppose what was your question? That's what are the family values and the sort of...
So how was it like growing up to like if they let you like face your own challenges as well? Because I think to build your character, because generally now you don't seem to me as someone that's got a sport character, something that's just very loose, like a loose person. So that's what I want to know, like in general, like if they did anything to kind of build on that.
I mean, they did. So I suppose I pride myself in a way, not really pride, but I'm happy to have quite a versatile character. So it's like sports is a big part for me, but not, it's not everything. And like
sports will humble you, man.
Well, and sports is wonderful because it brings people together at all levels, and it's just like a way of interacting with the world around you that makes it enjoyable. But I mean, that's not all. And also sports can get really competitive. Like it can have a dark side to it. And people can get like consumed by it. But I mean, you must have a whole world of interests. Like there's music and history and culture, and you work hard, and there's finances. So it's nice to have that. And my parents really instilled that in me. So a wide variety of interests.
No, that's perfect actually. So now I want to understand. Wait. There's a question I wanted to ask you. Do you have insecurities, if there's any, that you are willing to share? I sent you that question.
You did. I mean, I think everyone's got insecurities. Like no one's free from them.
Oh my God. Okay. The baby will come make noise. Or you can put whatever. Just
so, because it's going to keep opening it if we don't close it up.
We're just going to have to cut this out.
That's all right.
Then you just, the tripod thing, right?
You can use that.
Wedge it in the...
We're good. Okay, where were we now? You were talking about your insecurities.
Oh,
So
yeah.
what are some insecurities you have that you're willing to share?
I was saying I think everyone has insecurities. I don't think anyone's free from them.
Yeah.
I mean, generally people have like their physical appearance insecurities.
Yeah.
Kind of growing up until university, I was always a bit of a recluse. So like quite withdrawn.
Yeah.
I always had this like, why would anyone want to hear what I have to say or spend time with me? Like it's kind of transactional, all the friendships and stuff. Like I have to offer something in exchange for them to enjoy the time with me. But I always thought like I was always happy to spend time with people.
Yeah.
So I suppose that would have been a bit of an insecurity that I've had to grow out of. I mean, I still kind of have it. Even on this, I'm like, I don't know why anyone would want to listen to
Why
what I
are
have
you
to
here?
say.
Why? Really?
Yeah, so I suppose that would be something. Something more pertinent. But yeah, other than that, I mean, standard things like.
I can tell you for now, I'm not bored yet.
Yeah.
So I haven't fallen asleep yet. So
Not yet.
not yet. Let's see in 5 minutes. And yeah, what else?
Insecurities.
Yeah.
I think I don't know. I mean, the others are kind of trivial, I suppose.
Yeah.
You know, you shouldn't really have them, but you always have them.
Yeah.
You know, appearance stuff.
Yeah.
Things that you shouldn't be so important, but
Yeah. You go to the gym, right?
yeah, I do.
I just when you say that, I just sort of like how when you're at the gym, you're just always looking at yourself in the mirror for some weird reason. I don't know if you do that as well.
I try not to.
Yeah.
I try. I mean, you can't help it. It's like human instinct. As soon as you see a mirror, like people will.
Yeah, I also recently started trying as well, not to look at myself in the mirror, but like we're so insecure as people, especially about appearance and all that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, man. It's such a
definitely.
weird thing.
I mean, it's in like. I've always had kind of long hair, and like in high school, I always wanted to. I think it comes from then. Like I always kind of wanted to hide as much as my face as possible. So that was always probably a. Yeah, I mean, if you want more insecurity, if you really want to dig in there.
That's one I've never heard before. But I'm guessing as you get older, some of these things fade or you work.
Yeah, you start to care about them less.
Yeah.
You know, life beats you up a little bit more. And and you start to worry about those things less, which is good.
That makes sense. Yeah. What are some of your most prized possessions? Not money related, but like some achievements that you've had in your life that you really hold dear, and what do they mean to you?
No, I don't know. I don't really. I try.
Not even becoming a chartered accountant.
No, it's a nice achievement and it's good, but I mean, there's so much more. Yeah, I don't know. Not really. I don't really have any achievements that I'd look back on and go like that.
That you hold dear.
Yeah.
Really? Oh, that's quite something.
I mean, there's definitely fun things but there's nothing that really comes to mind as one certain thing that, you know, I was this way and then I achieved this and then I was another. It's like I suppose, I've always seen development as being quite a slow thing.
Were you like a big party person when you were young, huh?
No.
Really?
No, I was a recluse. I was insecure and I didn't like I mean, I always got on with people and so, but like even now I don't really.
You're one of, are you more like if someone talks to you, you talk to them, but you won't really go out and initiate conversations and all that.
Yeah.
Okay. And so now let's move more into the whole health and maybe like entrepreneurship stuff, because now you're doing chartered accounting. What have you learned in accounting that you think would be very beneficial in your life and in your future? You told me that eventually you want to venture into entrepreneurship, business, that kind of stuff. What do you think you've learned so far that maybe would be beneficial for a lot of people as well?
I mean, I think the beneficial thing about finance is that a lot of the world, the way that the systems and structures are set up, operate through a financial model.
Yeah.
So I mean, one of the issues I had with studying what I studied was that, you know, someone might study sciences or mathematics or engineering, I think is also really good, and then you've got, you know, medicine, and these are like real world things. You know, if let's say we had an apocalypse and the world fell apart, these are skills that you could really utilize.
Dark, man.
Like, I don't think it's going to happen, but I mean, these are skills that you can utilize, like they're real in a way, regardless of what kind of world you're working in. They're almost universal, I'd say, by and large. And then you get finance, and it's really a tool of society. I mean, maybe that sounds a little bit hippie, but like it's a tool of the way things work at the moment. So I always had a bit of a problem with that. I was a bit like, you know, it doesn't really feel real enough. But if you're gonna live in this world and you're gonna try achieve things out of it, then I think it's a good thing to study. It's a good thing to know. I mean, finance and how things work and law, and I mean that technical side and this combination of soft skills that it gives you as well in terms of dealing with people, being professional. Not very easy to impart like a few lessons off of that, especially from an entrepreneurial side, because, you know, I'm not, I haven't really started anything yet, even though I'd like to. But yeah, if I think of something during the interview, I'll stop us and I'll come back and be like, oh, I've got something. This is gold. I mean, working hard and really thinking for yourself and doing things differently. I mean, in a way, I would say like this is probably not from finance and auditing because, but like don't follow the rules too closely. And this is probably my more non-optimistic side coming out, but
the rebel.
but the world, like a lot in the world is a lie. Things are told to you and they're not really that way, and not like lies in a bad way. I mean, some things, like it's a structure. But it doesn't mean you have to follow it, and you don't always have to follow the rules, and you must just think for yourself and do things that make sense. Now that's not an auditor's or accounting perspective, because there it's very much like rules. But yeah, I think that would be something.
You know what I just thought of when you said a lot of the things in the word are not as they seem, or a lie. I immediately thought of something I recently heard. It says if the punishment for a crime is a fine, then the punishment only exists for poor people. Get what I mean? You get what I'm saying? Like, if you're speeding, you can pay a fine or you go to jail. So if you don't have money, you're going to jail. So the punishment therefore only exists for people without money. So, and then a lot of things are like that. You know, you can pay for 20 tickets in a day. They'll take your money. You can pay for what else? You get clamping zones, you get speeding tickets, all these kind of things, and you get fined maybe for misbehaving in court or whatever, or in a restaurant. You can pay a fine. If you don't have money. So I don't know. I just thought of it now, and I just wanted to say that.
But I mean, I think like these are sometimes systems are set up and they're like so hard and fast by their rules. I think it's one thing you can really appreciate about Namibia. Like, we've got a good system set up, but you know, if someone gets stopped, let's say for speeding, and I've actually got quite a lot of, I think, good things to say about the police officers that we have in Namibia. But like, they're not like, this is the rule, we don't care, here's a fine. Like, I've seen it with people. I mean, we were often driving around because my dad has the shop, and he's, you know, you'll drive around and you'll be with the guys that are working there, and they'll check, you know, these guys, they don't have that much, they were speeding. It's right, let them off. And it's like, you need some discretion like that in the world, where it's like, you've got to have a bit of freedom to go like, okay, is this reasonable, is it not reasonable? Because like you said, otherwise that system has its dark side, and the people that get punished are the people that can't afford it.
Yeah, and I think also it's like really when you're especially too strict with a lot of things, a lot of good people will get burned because it's very easy to do to be like, let me abide by the law, blah blah blah, when everything is like really strict and really tough. But it's like it's sometimes, wait, where am I getting with this? No. This is not what I wanted to say. I wanted to say it's very easy to be good when the scenarios are good. Yeah, that's what I meant to say. And so when the scenarios get tougher, it's like still being good and being humane. Playing that humane side, because I mean, like, you're speeding on the road. Yeah, that happens. 160.
Yeah,
you haven't really hurt anyone,
Yeah, I mean, it is dangerous and you shouldn't, but...
Yeah, but it's like a fast car, It's like, why do they make the cars going up into like 320 kilometers an hour,
Yeah.
It's just bound to happen.
And like, I mean, laws are sometimes created like, I suppose, to protect people from themselves in a way. But that also becomes a nanny state, and then you have no freedom in the place. Yeah. So I think that's really a positive thing about Namibia.
Yeah.
Although I mean, maybe it's not the best to be talking about how much I disagree with rules. And
I mean, I'm not trying to get us arrested.
Yeah, that element of freedom.
So maybe let's move on to other things like tax. Not too far from the law, but what's funny? A funny thing I've been realizing is like you deal a lot with taxes, You're in accounting, and the thing is like, so when someone gives me $10,000, I have to pay gift tax, is it? And that $10,000 will be taxed when I buy something. Whatever I buy, there's tax. And if I give it to someone else as a gift, that person is taxed. What do you think about that whole system and that whole setup? Because this is like daylight robbery, man, from my side. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, taxes are, I guess they're necessary, but I'm very pro private industry, so I'm kind of like, the government has its place and it needs to be there, but the less it does and the smaller it is, firstly the more effective it'll be, and secondly, like, I think the better the country will run as a whole, because you get a lot of inefficiencies in a lot of government institutions, and like that feeds into this tax. Is like, I mean, if people are paying less taxes, it's probably a good thing. So I'm not that pro tax. And, getting taxed at every corner. But I'm not gonna give you any advice.
Are you educated on tax avoidance? I feel like you are a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I'm not tax specialized, and I know a lot of the South African tax law because I studied there. The Namibian is very similar.
Yeah, I feel like you get accountants, then you get accountants. I think you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, there's definitely elements of that. And I mean, that's also this thing of like, there's a system, and you've studied the tools to work in a system, which is, I think, very beneficial, having the chartered accountant background, the finance background.
Nice.
But there's ways to do things that are optimal.
Nice, man.
With anything. I mean, there's...
Yeah, because I've had like a few times now, even with my business now, accountants, I meet a few, sometimes they're like, oh, you're looking for bookkeeping services, I'm an accountant. And then I ask them a few questions, and then I'm like, you're not the accountant I want. You're not that far. There's accountants.
I need a creative accountant.
I need the one that knows. You know what I mean. So I think we enjoyed our conversation a bit too much. But I'd like to wrap it up soon. And I want to ask you now, what's a book or a movie that left a lasting impression on you?
Also a difficult one to say. It's a bit like the question on what my favorite or my most prized achievement is. When it comes to movies, people don't really enjoy watching movies with me because I quite like movies that are a bit like, they kind of end with not being very conclusive, and they just kind of make you feel a little bit empty.
What's an example? Me Before You.
Yeah, I don't know. I
was... You know Me Before You?
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
Yeah.
I do.
What's an
That was
example?
good. Yeah, something like that. That ending was good.
Really? You like romantic? You like romantic movies?
No. If I'm thinking the right one, I'm kind of struggling to come up with a specific reference.
Yeah. I mean, it was a nice movie. You know, I won't lie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the one with the girl who had cancer. And no, that's the other one. That's something
Yeah.
else.
Me Before You is with the guy that's in the wheelchair, and he is a caretaker. The girl that I think they live in the UK or something.
Where he commits suicide basically at the end.
Yeah,
It's
in Switzerland.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And
Yeah. Okay. Maybe that's
the one
it's
with the
not-
girl with cancer is called After
There's
You. Oh no. Something Fault. The Fault in Our Stars.
Oh yeah. That's
yeah.
right. That's
Hey,
right.
We are
That one. I thought that's the one you're talking about because she dies in the end, and I mean he gave.
everything.
Yeah.
I mean, two guys talking about romantic
Anyways.
movies, nothing weird.
There was.
So you like those kind of movies? That's what
Yeah, I suppose that just make you. It's a bit weird, I suppose, but that make you feel like they like grab at your being, and like you struggle to understand them, and you struggle to grapple with like, the suffering in the world.
Yeah.
Because like I don't know, you open up your eyes and there's just suffering around you everywhere.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I suppose movies like that, I can't really mention one off the bat. Books, yeah, depend on what area. I mean, when it comes to
Have you read the 48 Laws of Power?
No, I haven't.
What about what's a book I think you probably might have read? Rich Dad Poor Dad.
I've heard about that, but I kind of stay away from books that are popular.
Yeah.
I just kind of find I don't really enjoy them that much. Like on an economics perspective, and I suppose political systems, like coming to that, there's a book called The Creature from Jekyll Island.
The Creature from Jekyll Island.
Yeah, which actually discusses, kind of the premise of it is how the Federal Reserve Bank was set up in the United States.
Okay.
And I mean, every country has a reserve bank.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Bank of Namibia for us.
Yeah.
But that whole system, how it was set up, and how really how an economy works, and it gives you the principles of it. And I mean, it has some conspiracy in it as well. I mean, I shouldn't call it conspiracy. But yeah, it's got elements of that. But that was very interesting and very eye-opening. So I would probably say that was probably had one of the larger impressions on me as a book.
Yeah.
When it comes to classics, I don't know if you like One Flew Past the Cuckoo's Nest.
One Flew Past the Cuckoo's Nest.
One Flew Past the Cuckoo's Nest.
That sounds like some mental rehabilitation kind of thing.
That's exactly what it is.
Really?
But I mean, I know we are probably running out of time, so just.
No. Time is always there.
But yeah, it's about a mental asylum and this guy that ends up in a mental asylum, and he's actually fine.
Yeah.
But he ends up there on purpose because otherwise he has to go to jail. But for committing like a pretty petty crime, and it was just a story of how a system can break you. Like how so I guess that struck with me. I mean, you've heard me talk now a little bit about.
That's some dark stuff, man.
Don't always follow the rules, and things are a lie. And
I actually want to read that. Yeah, I actually would want to read that.
Yeah.
So I'll ask you a last question now as we finish up. Actually, I want to ask two. First one is, what do you believe in that others might not?
Well, I suppose that we've already discussed a bit of the one, like a lot of the things in the world are
not as they seem.
Not as they seem, or they're a lie. What else that I believe in that others might not? I suppose more and more people nowadays have they take things from a very scientific perspective. I mean, we live in a country that's pretty religious, and I think pretty Christian orientated. So I suppose my sort of like religious beliefs are a bit alternative to, I mean, they're Christian orientated or inclined, but they're definitely not scientific. Like I feel the world's going, they're like looking at everything from a scientific lens, and like if it works this way in science, then that's the way it must work. And if we can't prove it and it doesn't fit into the scientific method, then it can't be, or we just disregard it.
Yeah. And you believe some things are just not meant to be proved?
Well, I think humility is quite a big thing for me. So I think, you must you must realize that, things are difficult to understand. You're not going to be able to understand everything, and you're not going to be able to understand everything through a scientific lens. I think there are other lenses to look at things through, where you can find a lot of truth. So I suppose that would be one. Like, I'm pretty like science orientated, and I quite enjoy that. And but that not everything must be looked at through a scientific lens. I mean, it's like they can barely describe, like explain where memories are stored, or what sleep is, or what happens in your, when you're sleeping in the unconscious part of your mind. I suppose there's a lot to do with the human mind that science just doesn't have the foggiest idea about. And like pretty miraculous things. And I suppose that also gives you nice perspective on your day to day. If you're not just like, this is a table, that's all it is. Like if things have a bit more wonder in a way in the world.
I kind of grasp what you're saying. From my side, the way I would understand it is like, this is a table because someone told us this is a table. That's it. So in a different life, this could have been a chair. I don't know if that's what you're also saying.
I guess a little bit like that. But
so where do you see yourself in 5 years? That's the last question for today. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Geographically, I see myself probably somewhere in Europe. So I'm relocating soon to London. I want to go across, just learn a lot, and then hopefully come back. Career-wise, I don't know. Just want to expose myself to a couple of different things and learn.
Children.
I don't know. I mean, probably I've Ignatious, as I would have said, is now long-term girlfriend, and those are definitely discussions that'll have to be had at some point. But I don't know. Probably, I suppose, in the next 5 years. You did throw me off there a little bit with that one. If your niece watches this, she's going to love that. She's going to be squirming at this question. But anyways, I don't know. I want to see a couple of different places and then come back to Namibia, I suppose. Like in general, like as a long-term plan. You would have heard me now say a lot, Namibia is the place to be, opportunity. This country's going to do well, I think. Like if you're going to stay here, and then I'm leaving. So I'm going to counter to my advice, but I suppose I don't think.
I definitely think you're coming back. That I definitely.
But I might miss that window of opportunity. But I suppose that's the thing. It's like it's not all about doing well and well. You want to go see what life has to offer.
Of course.
So
So that's your answer.
So my answers haven't been very conclusive for you.
I was expecting to hear kids
and marriage. And
a house and Swakop.
I mean, that would be nice. It's in Swakop, I suppose.
Playing beach volleyball every second weekend.
No, my problem is I don't even really know where I'm going to be in 4 months, never mind 5 months, never mind 5 years. So it's very open at the moment.
So I'm making you think, I really appreciate you for doing this, Luke, and I look forward to a great friendship between the two of us. One thing I like about this podcast is that I get to listen to people in a way that they normally wouldn't be spoken to in real life. So I hope I have done that with you.
You definitely did.
I'll keep your secrets safe.
Hopefully I didn't manage to bore you.
You see, I'm alive and well, still smiling. So thank you, man. Appreciate
thanks
it.
a lot. It was really good.
Cheers, guys.
Cool.
I don't know. Cut out the cheers, guys.